Welcome to MotoGP Mac, where MotoGP fans come to congregate and fanboys fear to tread. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good, fella. I'm doing good. It's another one of those weeks, and it's kind of, I suppose, a slow news week in MotoGP, except for I suppose the whole Jorge Martin thing is really blowing up. Do you know what I mean? And what's going to happen? Who's going to do what? What's going to go on with it? And for me, I think it's kind of funny, like Martin's manager now is saying, "Oh, there needs to be a contract sport in MotoGP like there is in Formula One, and all of this stuff where it is where these things can be decided rather than going to court."
Yeah,
And I think it's kind of funny, that everything seemed to be kind of somewhat settled until Martin's manager came out and was like, "Oh, he's free as a bird." Do you know
yeah,
what I mean? To go back inside him.
yeah. Insert
Um,
button now.
and then yeah, it really pissed off a few people. I think it's kind of funny. And look, let's be very very honest here. The only person that can lose out in this is Jorge Martin.
Yeah,
Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like Aprilia can't, right? They'll just sign another rider. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? Not a big deal. Not really a big deal. They will sign. They don't want to lose Jorge Martin because they believe in him, and that's fair enough. But like realistically, if Jorge Martin doesn't want to ride the bike and acts the bollocks about it and this, that, and the other, then what really happens here? They either force him to ride the bike, which he'll ride around like a tail end Charlie and breach his contract and this, that, and the other, and Aprilia will still make him wait till the end of 2026.
Good.
They could bench him,
Yep. That's what I do at
you know,
benches. Now, how
bench
about
him.
you have a big brass set of balls to say, okay, I'm not only might I'm not want to ride, okay, but I want to get paid anyway. Good work if you can get it. You know,
Yeah, yeah. Well,
I
look,
think it's signed
so,
behind
so,
it. Does he want to be paid twice? Is he saying?
no, no. Like, right? Let's be very fair. Right now, he's injured, and he was injured off a motorbike, right? While racing. So yeah, he deserves to be paid. If he comes back and races to the end of this year and races normally, yeah, he deserves to be paid for his year's
Yeah. All
contract.
right.
That's it. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think, and I suppose the point of what I was saying earlier is actually it's Aprilia that are in control, not Jorge Martin.
Yeah. Yeah. But he wants to be paid. From what I gathered, he wants to be paid for 2026.
No,
Even.
no,
You
no,
know.
no, 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 no. If the contract ends, that's it. It's game over. So so there's no like, oh, I want both salaries. He's not going to get that. Do you know what
That it
I mean?
happens in NFL football, things of that nature. That's why I thought it was following. He might be following those lines. I thought he was following those lines
Yeah,
because they'll have
yeah.
contracts with a guarantee. Even if you get hurt, you get paid through.
Oh well, like, yeah, but look, he has that contract, and like, but he's not going to take next year off. He's keen to sign with someone else for next year, which we believe is Honda.
Yeah,
And
it
then
kills me. They go. He goes, "Oh, that bike's not good enough, right?" Which is the second best bike in
I
MotoGP.
I dis I disagree with you on that.
I know
I,
you
I,
do.
I
I
and
know
I
you
and
do,
I
and I know
wholeheartedly
why
disagree.
too. But I know why. We always agreed on that of with how we judge riders versus bike on that. But don't forget, their number one rider was Bez or was Martin, but he's just not there. So we're looking the Aprilia's
I,
number one rider is their number two rider.
yeah, but I
So
don't
how
see
well is number
I
two
don't
rider?
I don't see another Aprilia rider within one or two spots of Besecky.
Yeah, it's a unique situation because you have a
Yeah.
rookie, okay? You have
I would be,
Fernandez.
I
You
will
got
be, I will just be very honest with you.
yeah,
There's the four are as bad as each other, right?
yeah,
There's no
yeah,
shining.
yeah. There's no standout rider. Yeah,
As no, as my famous saying goes,
but no,
other
I
than
think that
other
stands
than
out.
other
Yeah,
than
true.
other than Ducati, there is not one bike on the grid that shines like a diamond in a goat's ass.
Oh
There's
no, no. I mean,
there's not.
but it's still
Like
it's still second.
you look at
I'm saying,
the constructor standings, right? And there's 8 points between KTM and Aprilia, right? So you
I
can't
feel
really
as if
say.
construction side, it was always kind of iffy. In case you could have one
no, no,
rider take a whole win on a.
but
When
you did.
Marc Marquez won decisively, the year like 2019 by himself, he won the riders and the constructors title.
Yeah, and I don't disagree with it, but like, what my point is that if if Aprilia was the second best bike on the grid, there should be a bigger gap, and there's not, right? And like you can
But I'll
say,
put it back this way: most people across the thing are calling the Aprilia the second best.
I
Thing.
wouldn't.
We'll just put it as that, right?
Yeah,
Because, but if it is right, then you say, well, why would you go on to the other agreed point that Honda's the
I
worst? You
let me
wouldn't go
turn it.
from
Let me turn it around this way to you. If Mavericks Qatar points were scored,
where would he
correct?
be? Where would he be if he wasn't injured?
KTM, no. If Mavericks Qatar score, remember he got
Oh yeah,
demoted
yeah,
16-second penalty or whatever it was. If he got his actual points for that day, KTM would be ahead of Aprilia in the points. End of story.
yeah. But they
So,
got better riders, and that's a cumulative one.
well, I would put Mav as the same as Besekki. Great rider, very inconsistent. Very, very inconsistent.
Yeah, but
Hot
then
and cold.
but they have more. They have Binder, then they have
Binder keeps crashing.
yeah,
What's his name? Pedro Costa keeps crashing.
yeah. But he's still better than this lineup.
Any
Of
Bastianini, doesn't
he
frighten
went
the top 10.
yeah, he's really went down the shitter. But
So
they
like
still have a better rider lineup than Aprilia.
but my point is, like, you could compare them, right? You look at Aprilia right now. You look at it. It's like Lorenzo Savadori and Enia Bastianini on the KTM. You then have Raul Fernandez and Brad Binder very close in the points.
Yeah, and what
Then
yeah, but
then
Aprilia's
then you
making Ralph
relax. Then you
Sanchez
have
look good.
Aya
Yeah.
Agora, and then you have
He
what's
has a
his name?
broken leg.
Well, he doesn't have a broken leg
Oh,
anymore.
yeah.
But if you look at the points championships, they're actually all very close together in those points. So that means to me that they're all very much the same.
My point is, if he was Martin was so worried about the performance of a vehicle, okay, to pull this clause, he certainly wouldn't want to go to Honda. He's just going to Honda for the money.
Yeah, it's either the money or that he's like there's an awful lot of things saying that, like, my understanding of his contract was that Aprilia wanted a 2-year deal and Jorge only wanted a 1-year deal because he didn't really fully understand or know the performance of the Aprilia. So that's why then the get out clause, or whatever it is you wanted, the exit clause, was put in that after a certain period of time, if a certain level of performance wasn't achieved, either party had the right to terminate the contract. Now, this is standard in most majority of
Yeah.
contracts and whatnot, right? And I won't disagree with any rider that going to a new team, like, realistically, right? I called it day one. He left Ducati in spite. Like, he told Ducati go fuck themselves, right? Um, and he's like, "You have a date. You need to, decide by this date, or
Right.
else I'm gone." And I think he jumped before he was pushed, right?
Yeah.
And the minute he did that, he regretted it, and that's why that is in his contract. And remember, like I said a long time ago, that I believed that this is what he was doing. People told me no, 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 no. But saying that, if he
Hey,
has, if
Mac,
he is,
look down at me. Okay, yeah. You're
yeah,
for some
sorry.
reason you're looking up in the air. There you go.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, look, I'm just watching something cut my eye.
Yeah.
But whatchamacallit, when he signed that contract took a couple of weeks to get done. Like, that wasn't, oh fuck you, do you know what I mean? He had all that already lined up should Ducati not do that deadline. So, and then Massimo has said, well, look, an unhappy rider can win the championship.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But basically, what that is actually saying is that we're not going to let him out as easy as he fucking thinks.
Yeah, and for once, I'll give credit when credit's due. Dorna and Espelita actually did the right thing and said, "Listen, if you don't get your shit straight, you're not going to ride.
No, no. What he actually said in that is that
You're not going to get
he's
your
like,
license. We're going to renew your license or something." Yeah,
yeah, like it's that you can't be contracted to two teams. That's what he
yeah.
said. So sort your fucking shit out or
Hmm.
fuck off. Do you know what I mean? But you're not coming in here in the middle of a fight. And it's also saying to all parties, get this sorted by the end of 2025.
That
Don't
no,
trigger
you
this.
are. You've always been a Labor Party kind of guy. You're never management.
What you mean?
You always vote for the Labor Party. Is it England has the Labor Party and the Lord?
No, kid. Firstly, I'm
What's
in
one?
Ireland.
Yeah, I
We
know
will
that. I
have,
know that.
yeah,
That's why I said it in. That's why this. That's why I put it as in England. They have the Lord. They have the Lords and what's the two parties? The Lords and
there's
the
Labour and the Conservatives, I think. Yeah,
Conservatives. Okay, I kept thinking the Lords was yeah
yeah.
the Labor and the Conservatives. I always thought you were more of a Labor guy.
No, not really. No.
Mhm.
Um, no, but look, like at the end of the day, all he's just said is, look, you're not bringing it into next year, and don't even fucking try it. Do you know what I mean? Which is right. Do you know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, you can't be contracted to two teams in
Yeah.
the one world championship. Um, then we have Liberty Media has now officially taken over all of it,
Mhm.
which is absolutely good that it's done.
Yeah.
You can see Espeleta's days are now numbered. Really, he was missing the last couple of Grand Prix. Actually, not sure people noticed, but that was planned apparently. But I don't really think it was planned. I don't really think it was planned. I think obviously there was something up. Um, so yeah, so Espeleta, yeah, look, I think he made the right comments. Do you know what I mean? Realistically, to make sure that Aprilia and then figure it out. I would think he's having a word with Honda in the background as well, saying, "Don't you fucking be fucking delaying this." Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um, I definitely think there's an old few fruity emails being sent behind the scenes. One of the things I was thinking about actually the other day, though, right? How good would Fabio Quartararo do on a Ducati?
I think he's so good he could adapt fast. I really do.
I think he could, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think it would be pretty interesting
Again, but I
to
don't know
see.
if they can even Ducati can afford him. Did you see it was one of them off the wall things where they were going through the paddock. There was a guy. He was in a Aprilia clothes and he was the umbrella boy. He's called himself the umbrella boy for Aprilia. He must have did it as a joke, right? And he's going
Mhm.
around and he's talking to and he goes, "Is that a real blah 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 watch? Some of these special watches that I've never heard of. Of course, I never, right? That's a $500,000 watch." And he said, "Yeah, that's a half. That guy has a $500,000 watch on his wrist." Okay. Now, if you're got the spending habits to have a $500,000 wristwatch, somebody should sit that boy down and say, "Listen,
Yeah, listen, look, a lot of those watches are sponsored. You see it all the time in Formula
I don't know
One.
about
You
a
see
half
it
a
all.
million dollars. That's a hell of a sponsor."
Oh, yeah, yeah. Richard Neal, Holbolt, all of these ones
Yeah, but it is a name,
sponsored.
really. The OEM cost on it is not, you know, outrageous. Like the
Yeah, but
cost to make to stamp out the watch. Like a
yeah,
Rolex,
but
Rolex doesn't cost $10,000 to make. I mean, it's not even
it doesn't.
close.
No,
No.
no, it doesn't. But like Rolex was a big sponsor of Formula One, right? Then you had Richard Mille, you had Holbolt, or whatever it is. You load of them. Watch the Formula One drivers there, the Formula One race on this afternoon. Watch them to get out of the car. Joe, they're on the podium. They get out of the car. They take off their helmet. They take off their fireproof thing. They have a drink. They throw gloves are off. What goes on their wrist? Fucking watch.
Mhm. Yeah.
Very, very, very big. So, oh no, Lewis Hamilton has a $500,000 watch, and like there is no problem. Um, There is no problem doing people spending $500,000 on a fucking watch. Like
Yeah.
there is people out there, Jones. It's nothing to them. But yeah, I just thought. But look, Fabio on a Ducati, how would he do? And look, it's a question to you, but it's also a question to everyone at home as well. As like, what would you think he would be able to do? Do you know what I mean? Like for me, he'd definitely be up the front,
Mm.
definitely challenging everyone. But it would be interesting to see him. Like, look, he is getting frustrated at Yamaha.
But he has given him a long shot. I mean, he has given him a lot of room like, hey, give him a lot of time for say, hey, improve the bike. It's
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
he jumped the gun. Where Martin wants it done yesterday, but the day before yesterday, he's given him 4 years.
yeah. He's giving him time. Look, yeah. Look, no one else is going to pay him the sort of money that he's demanding either. You know what I mean? And
I
if you
didn't
want a
hear
better,
about
huh?
that. I didn't hear about him demanding more money.
Well, no, look, he like the money that he's on. He's definitely on a good 8-10 million a year,
Mhm.
right? No one else is really going to give him that sort of money. And look, it's not a long term sport anymore. Do you know what I mean? Most riders want to be gone out of it by their early 30s. Do you know what I mean? Get on the MotoGP bike in their 20s and get out of it after 10 years. Do you know what I mean? So
Your
like,
reflexes go first. It's yeah.
yeah, but my point is that like you only have a few years to make your money. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
He has his world championship. Of course, he wants another one. Um, so it's kind of a few bits and pieces like that. But it's in that, the V4 is out. It's testing. I sent you on a few pictures of it there the other day. My understanding is it's about 3 seconds a lap now, slower.
Which I
Um,
thought is damn good for us coming out of the box.
yeah, yeah. Well, look, it's a bit more than out of the box now. Do you know what I mean? This is their um, what's the sixth, seventh test in it. So it is definitely not just out of the box, but it's
Now, who was riding that? I forget. Do you know?
Davi and Augusto Fernandez are riding it, are doing the testing. Which Davi, to be fair, is definitely a good hand at at it.
Before.
Do you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
would have asked someone to run something by you. I thought about it. Hit me like kind of a half-ass epiphany.
Mhm,
I'm wondering. It's been 4 years. They've been telling Quartararo, we're going to make a better bike. We're going to make a better bike. Because most
mhm,
people have been saying, why didn't they have Quartararo on this V4 immediately, like 3-4 months ago? Getting
mhm.
him from the get go as a test rider. I wonder if Yamaha doesn't want him on that bike, okay, until it's better. They
Mhm.
put their best foot forward, right? Not to piss him off. And
Well,
he doesn't want to go on a crap bike when it just starts up and go, hey, this thing's crap.
mhm.
They always are when they start up. I mean, it's impetuous for Quartararo because he's young. You got to expect that, But realistically, you can't expect it to come out of the box a winner either.
Yeah. So Yamaha did say that, like it did come from the top. They've said that the current race riders or factory riders will not ride the V4.
Oh, really? Okay, I didn't catch that.
Um, Now, my problem with that is, right, every rider in Pramac and in the factory team um, is on a factory contract. so, so does that mean it's not coming into Pramac? I think it's coming into Pramac. Um, as I sent you the other night, I believe Yamaha is the only one still in Group D in the concessions. So realistically, we have two more races, and they review it. And if they review it and Honda is in Group D, then Honda loses concessions. Watch the fucking Hondas crash out now the next fucking two races, like Skittles, right, to make sure
Yeah,
that they stay
yeah.
inside in that fucking um, thing. Um, but
We
no,
don't
for
know
me,
how, but the Honda has caught on fire, folks. It's in, yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it is interesting. Another area I want to touch on is Mark's comment after the Assen Grand Prix, where he's like, "Oh, people were hounding me because Alex didn't attack me, but Bez didn't either." Do you know what I mean? And I rode a
They
great
have
race, and
been
people need to be
talking like
respected.
they haven't all these bullshit sites have him saying
No,
all these different things so much.
no,
It's hard to differentiate
he did.
between which one it
Yeah,
is.
and he did come out and say it. You know what I mean? But look, I suppose at the end of the day, right? I think because like I even called it on the sprint race. Alex didn't attack him. He could have, but he didn't.
No, we went over
Bez,
that before. FS. We said like, yeah,
yeah,
expect that. It's a sibling. You're not going to make that dangerous pass that you would on somebody else. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
exactly,
On your brother.
exactly, and that's I've said it for a while that Alex is a rear gunner. Do you know what I mean? He's like Mark is very comfortable when Alex is behind him. When someone else is behind him, he's not so comfortable. Now, Bez, you could see, and I suppose where the difference between what happened with Bez and what happened with Alex is that Alex is on a similar spec bike, not completely identical. Like you're going through Assen, and like you can't use the rear ride height device in there, so that's part of the so um the rear ride height device isn't the major as it would be in other circuits. So any advantage really was not there. Bez only had maybe one opportunity. You could see it. You could see it with the Aprilia. The changes of direction in the high speed corners. That bike was as fucking nervous as fucking anything. Do you know what I mean? Like if you or I were on that bike and changing that right, there would be a fucking
And what
shit
bike you
stain.
talking?
The Aprilia, there'd be
No.
a shit stain in our jocks. It when it was turning into high speed, like it was like so no. You could see it right.
Mm.
So for me, when I looked at it, it was like Bez couldn't attack him because he was losing too much in the middle part before the
Yeah.
sector three.
He
He was
was
just
definitely
losing.
at the limit. He was definitely at the limit.
Oh,
You
he
could
was
see
he
it.
was way over his limit. But I suppose the difference between him and Alex is like Alex is on the Ducati, very similar to what Mark is. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
the gap between the
or
GP
better.
24 or 25 in Assen is minimal. Nothing really.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Maybe just the only major difference is the color of the paint. Do you know what I mean?
Or most people say that they say that the 24 is better than the 25.
I
You
think
know,
Yeah, I think on a race distance, I think you're right on that. I think maybe in pace and one lap pace, the 25 is probably that little bit better. Um, but it's hard to get out. And what I actually think is what they've done is that they've narrowed the performance window so much of the GP25. It's really, really hard. So
and they don't
it,
have testing. They're restricted. They don't have they have an engine freeze, and you know during a FIM
well,
beat
now look,
European brands over
Apri-
the head.
Aprilia and KTM have an engine freeze as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yes, I know.
Uh,
No,
they
but all the
have
European.
they maybe have 10 or 15 sets of tires more than than Ducati have, right? Um, and for me, when I look at it, right, Ducati could stop developing 2 years ago and still be winning the races today. They're that far ahead, right? They are, right? Like realistically, Gigi is probably thinking of 27 now more than what's currently going on.
You know me, the necessity is the mother of invention. I think if they let everything go and didn't have concessions, but you had all you can test, if you could test all you like, that they would actually do a better, faster job. Now, this is before your time, and I know the bikes weren't as complicated, but do you know Yamaha between 81 and 82, they made 18 new bikes. And you got to say it. They had inline fours, opposed fours. I mean, the shock underneath the seats. It was unbelievable, all the different bikes they made.
But
Going
Jake,
to,
I 100% get you, right? Like you go back 10 years ago, 15 years ago in Formula 1 is a prime example of it, right? You go out Friday for the practice sessions, brand new engine,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
You do practice session Saturday morning, brand new engine.
right.
Qualifying, then you get a special qualifying engine,
Yeah.
and then you get a race engine.
Wouldn't that be nice?
But yeah, but like so there you're like 5 engines throughout a weekend per car, so that's 10 engines.
Hmm. That would be so
And
good.
but that's what happens when everything was let go. Do you know what I mean? You could test, you could do it all you wanted, and then what actually happened was is that teams just spent too
Loving.
much money, too much money, too much money, and then it actually came out to be like, unless you were willing to spend 1 billion a year, there was no point even entering. And then what you saw was that teams
$1 billion.
started leaving.
That's an ungodly figure.
Well, sure, right now they're limited to 150 million, right,
Hmm.
in performance and
And
development.
that's still a ungodly amount of money.
It is, yeah, 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 for just two cars to go racing on a Sunday,
Um,
26 times
the
a year.
movie, the F1 movie, the budget was 150 million.
Yeah, I haven't watched it. I kind of refuse to watch it because I know it's a GP2 car that they used
I
for
didn't even know it was out yet. You know,
yeah, it's
well,
out. Yeah, yeah. My young fellow was annoying me to go see it, so
no, really.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Um,
crazy. It's what it. What's a movie ticket now? $25 a piece.
I think it's like we were like 12. Yeah, it's about $15 each. Um, but yeah, look, it's they've well made back over half of their money on the opening weekend of the F1 movie. Like, but
Yeah,
again,
there's
look,
going to be a second one in the works.
it is a glitz and a glamour thing, and look, that's kind of the thing that I'm looking forward to
Yeah,
in in MotoGP. Like 'cause the British Grand Prix is on behind me on at the moment, right? That's why I keep looking up. And Silverstone, where I was for the race, where there was maybe 40, 50,000 people, maybe 60,000. There's probably 150,000 people there now for the Formula One. Tickets are far more expensive. Like my tickets was 50 pounds. Probably it's like 150, 200 pounds just for a fucking normal ticket to get in there. Do you know what I mean? So it's, um, and that's all through the wizardry of what Liberty Media do. So I'm kind of
I hope
excited.
there's more tech involved. The Liberty,
Oh, they
you know.
do, yeah, yeah. And as I mentioned, look, there's for the average user at home, you have a lot more stuff that you can watch. So, like as I mentioned, you have the Battle Channel, you have this, that, and the other.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, and
Sky,
just the bikes. I wish they open up the rules to have more tech. You know.
oh, to have more tech. I think they're
And
actually, yeah, yeah.
I'm baffled why. I know why, but I have sneaking suspicion that like they should have brought back active suspension. I mean, Honda got screwed on that deal. Okay, I'll admit it. You know, I always have play fair and even, but they got screwed on that because they just said, "Oh, we're taking it away because yours is too good." I hate that. Oh, it's too good for racing. It goes too fast. I hate that.
Well,
And then they should bring it back just for safety because their bikes got faster and faster. You know, that the rider needs a little help when the thing has 300 horsepower and it's going 250 mile an hour.
yeah. Look, I get you. I get you. Look, I don't disagree that the bikes are getting too fast, too powerful, right? For human things. But then there's the
Let's get
obvious.
the monkeys on there.
Yeah, but look, there's the odd,
See the
there's
monkey, have you?
there's a couple of things, right? You know, you look at 11 players on on a soccer pitch, right? Your goal, if you're an owner of a football club, is to get the best 20 players in the world so that you have the strongest team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and if they bring out a new ball and the ball starts to move too fast, which you
Yeah.
know what I mean, the lads can't control it. Um, it, you change the ball, yeah, or do you change the players? And I don't know. I just think with the way they've gone with the regulations, right? Like you remember the Misano tests coming up, and the Tuesday test after that. Realistically, they're killing 50 horsepower off of those bikes.
Oh, easy.
No, but that's what they're doing. I can tell you the teams have been requested to remove 50 brake horsepower electronically from the bikes. There's going to be no rear ride height, and they're going to test that way. That's exactly how they're going to test the Tuesday after the Misano race.
I think it's going to be a crash fest too.
I don't think so. I think the bikes are going to be smaller, lighter, less aero. It just means that they can't corner as fast. Do you know what I mean? That's you know, it's the same as going around a corner in a Porsche, going around a corner in a Nissan Micra. Do you know what I mean?
Now I'm also curious how the Pirelli tires are because the first indications they said this, I don't know about how much of a rumor it is, whatever. That you know you had the Bridgestones were a front bias, meaning the front tires were better than the back, the
Yep.
bias tire. And then Michelin had the rear bias tire, meaning the back was better than the front.
Mhm.
Now with Pirelli, they're saying they're about even on both front and rear.
Yep.
And everything works off the tires. So
So this is a whole engineering. This is a whole
yes,
engineering problem,
yes.
which is why they're doing the Mazzano test.
And I think it would be good to have both. I would think that it would be good to have both tires, evenly, even with even bias.
I think so. Be interesting. All right.
I think they've been racing a long time. That they, ever since they got bought out or bought Metzler, Pirellis have gotten so much better.
Yeah. Like, look, Pirelli are a good brand. I just find it funny that Pirelli are going to MotoGP and Michelin then are going to World Superbikes.
Yeah, it's like slopping wine. You know what I mean?
But like, talking about the Michelin, they're not going to run the brand new tire that they've developed for the Aero, which I think is just silly. So I mean,
it's a cost. It's not cheap to put them on there.
But it's developed.
It's already developed.
It's already developed.
Oh shit! Well, then why not put it on? Because the cost, all the cost is in development.
Yeah. But like, what they've done is like they've this is the tire that was designed for the Aero, the front Aero. Do you know what I mean? So, but then they're like, no, we'll just stick with it. Now I'm sure that they're probably worried that they'll give away technology to Pirelli. Do you know what I mean? Because the riders feel is going to be very crucial in that, and also they don't want to help Pirelli make a good tire. You know what I mean? And if Michelin has spent millions working this through and figuring this out and whatnot, technically, someone could just turn around and say, "Well, look, this is what it feels like on the Michelin." Do you know what I mean? And if that's kind of consistently coming back, then they've helped them.
They say it's so much harder to make a motorcycle tire than a car tire. Like they didn't the first radials came out in '83, right?
Yeah.
83 or '84 where you could buy them on the public, right? But that's a hell of a difference. They had radial tires for cars, 60s, 50s, 1950s.
Yeah,
30 years beforehand.
Yeah, it is crazy. It is crazy. But look, I think I do think it's interesting. Like, still, it's just it is a pity that we're not like 2020 2026 is realistically going to be stagnant. Do you know what I mean? And we're not going to see much change from anyone. So
the best bikes in the world will be made next year, 2026. And it's downhill from there.
Yeah. Well, like actually, like we're looking at the best bikes. Do you know what I mean? Because like they're currently still developing them. Do you know what I mean? Whereas next year, I think there'll be a serious lack of development of those bikes because they'll be focused.
They'll tap out at 26, and that'll be the best bike ever made.
The end of this year, I think they're going to stop development. So the end of this year's bike is going to be as good as it gets, unfortunately, for them.
I can't see Ducati. I can't see the Europeans stopping. And actually, they'll give some.
No. I think they'll stop. I think they'll just go to.
You think they're just going to pack it and put it in wax?
Yeah, because it's 27. Do you know what I mean? That's their focus then. Because they can't start running the engines until the start of 2026.
You think Honda's going to keep throwing shit at the wall because they're so far behind?
Yep.
Yeah.
I think any team with concessions will keep developing. They have to. You know,
but I looked at it. I was looking at it one day. I said, MotoGP might not be race on Sunday, sell on Monday like they usually had it from everything trickling down from like World Superbike does. But the teams that are the manufacturers which have the strongest engineering in MotoGP also have to make the best bikes. They win all the comparisons. It's correct going across.
Like I think the fact that Ducati are winning convincingly, you know what I mean, dominating the championship, tells the world that we make good bikes.
Yeah, and they do make the best bikes. I mean, when they should because of how much money they cost. And I
Yeah,
said Aprilia, it might have taken their crowns though this year. Uh, the Aprilia RSV4 has the best chassis there is, and they upgraded their here. We move about electronics. They upgraded their electronics. It was the Öhlins MK2, and then Ducati made a new one, MK3. But Aprilia said they tweaked or refined their MK2. How is Aprilia going to work on Öhlins suspension?
Aprilia have always been on Nolan suspension when you get the factory.
I mean, how's the factory of Aprilia going to tweak an Öhlins, make it better? How are they going to work on
Well,
the
it's
Öhlins suspension?
well,
The
it's
Öhlins
it is
electronics.
it is electronic, isn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah. So realistically, it's their own one.
supposed to be great. Like the two is actually, as I said, better than the three right now that just started out. And I'm really surprised that they picked the Aprilia over the new Ducati with the new swing arm.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot will change. Like we do know that they are developing the R version of the Ducati, the new Ducati. So that will be interesting to see. I would be expecting a significant difference between the new and the old.
And by the way, folks, the one arm swing arm looks good, but you don't find it in a MotoGP bike. It doesn't make the bike handle better. It's better to have a double sided swing arm for handling than a single sided swing arm.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with it in the in the World Superbikes either. But
No,
you're
no,
right.
no. But they should do better when they have the double sided swing arm. They say the bike handles better with a double sided swing arm. Not as good as Aprilia's chassis, but good. Better
Oh yeah,
than
yeah.
the
Look,
single sided
there's no
swing.
there is no doubt that it will be that it will be a good bike when it comes out. Well, I would want to be for the price that you're paying for it then as well. Do you know what I mean? That's
Yeah.
the other side of it. Um, what else is I going to say? Samkit Chantra is out for the until after the summer break. He missed both rounds. And remember the race weekend coming up this weekend. We have a back to back. So we have Sachsenring and then we have Brno, and then we're on summer holidays for a month,
Oh, okay.
which is a little
Okay.
bit. Yeah, so it's a difficult season. I haven't decided. Am I actually going to take a holiday for a week or two? On
Well,
posting videos on
you
that.
deserve it.
Yeah, so we might just do the podcast or whatnot just during
And
that
worst
time. I
comes to
have.
worst, they've been asking about you for on the podcast. By the way, where's that guy at?
Oh yeah. Look, I just got some stuff on. Sometimes I can make
And
it.
let me
Sometimes I can't.
tell people this, okay? Because I've seen that actually Mac get brought up in other podcasts from their members and or like what people are a member on both. I've known him for 4 years now. He is not a Marquez hater, or what I mean. He is a Marquez fan. He just does not let him go like I do. I'm a Marquez fan, but if he bash passes or toes on something, we're going to give him hell. We're going to say, "Hey, cut that shit out." We're not fanboys of Marc Marquez.
Yeah, well, I've been very open about how I am with Mark. Right. I don't like Mark's attitude at times. Right. And even
But it doesn't make you
Simon,
hate either.
yeah, it's Simon Crafar even called it out and called him prickly. Right, that's
Yeah.
the way, right, and that's the way it is. And if Mark does something good, I'll praise him. If Mark does something bad, I'll fucking
Yes.
say it as well. Do you know what I mean? And that's my whole point. And yeah, people were bringing up that about the brake check in Misano, and I believe, well, looking from the outside in, it looked like a brake check, right? That he
Yeah.
slowed purposely in the middle of the corner, whatever. And
He
just so
could have done it
people
by
understand,
accident too.
it could have
You
been
know.
a bit by accident. But I said it was like a brake check. So does it need to be looked at by the stewards? And guess who was called up to ask, or who was asked about it? Simon Crafar called Pecco to the stewards room to ask him specifically about that.
Really? Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so I'm very simple like this. I say it how I see it. If you
That's it.
don't like it, I really don't give a fuck.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. And
You
just
know,
because you're a Rossi fan doesn't mean you're um
it doesn't automatically make me a Pecco fan or a
you're
Bezzecchi
a hater.
fan
Yeah.
or a Marini fan or whatever. You
And with
know,
me, like Japanese, I say the Japanese are inferior because they are at this point in time. It's been a long time they've been inferior by production wise, and there's a reason for that. For financial reasons for Japan, the whole country's on a recession, so they start cutting back, cutting corners.
yeah.
You
But
know,
look, it's a funny it's a funny old world in the way of when you look at things, right? And
but I don't hate them. I just want everybody to be on the same level
but
for
look,
racing.
I suppose to
I don't
say
want,
some to
yeah,
say anything in this world, you have to be prepared to upset somebody, right? Because
yeah,
somebody is going to take it to heart and think. And at the end of the day, lads, from my point of view, it's a sport.
yeah,
It's a sport I really love and I enjoy watching and whatnot. But I don't go crying about it, and I don't go whinging, and I don't get upset when people are starting. It's a sport. Grow up.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's a
And
manufacturer. Just because they bought something doesn't make it the greatest thing in the world or the worst thing.
but I see things a little bit differently. Like if you ride a Yamaha and you're a big Yamaha fanboy, fair fucking play to you, right? Fair play to you. That so, or
No,
if
I
you're a
say
Ducati,
different. Fan is
but
fine.
but but
Fanboy is when you're getting delirious.
that's just people's passion about the bike that they bought, and some might be their dream bike and dream brand and all of this stuff.
Mhm.
And fair play to you, right? But just don't expect me to believe your bullshit.
Yeah, yeah,
And that's where it is. Like I will have my own opinion, as you're entitled to your opinion, and the others are entitled to their own opinion, and that's fine. And we can go forward and back about it. But like, I don't go to bed at night dreaming about a fucking Yamaha. Do you know what I
yeah.
mean? I have far more other things to be worried about now than what
Yes.
happens with
Retirement and all that kind of stuff. In my case,
Moto,
yeah,
MotoGP, and like it's a sport, it's a hobby, it's something that you watch to forget your troubles or whatever. Like you always hear it. You know, you throw on the helmet, and you go for a ride, and you have peace for 20 minutes, half an hour. Same sort of thing. You watch it.
it's an old expression that says you never find a motorcycle in the parking lot of a psychiatrist.
That's
Yeah,
true. That's
yeah,
true. But look, like at the end of the day, I started this channel whatever years ago because I used to watch MotoGP on my own, and then I just said I would say my thoughts and whatnot. And I don't expect everyone always to agree with me. I don't want that, because if that's the fucking case, then you don't have a channel, you don't have a community, and you don't. All I'm just saying to people is, yeah, be proud of your brand, be proud of your bike. If you're saying things like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing," that's fucking great for you. I'm delighted, but don't expect me to believe
yeah.
it. You know, and don't expect me to agree with something that
No, what kills
you
them is
think.
like I own both Japanese Superbike collections, so I got both the newer European and newer Japanese bikes, right?
"Mm,
It's like I have an H2. Oh my god, the H2 is the fastest thing. No, it's not. Has 200 horsepower and is 550 pounds. Unless you tune it, it's the slowest one I got. And
Yeah."
second off, it is the worst handling bike of a super bike, bar none.
Now it's probably fast in a straight line. Do you
You know what it
know?
does? It has torque because of the servos, because of the supercharger. So
Yeah.
it'll pull away, and then it dies because it has less horsepower than like it has 200, but say the
Mm.
BMW has 215.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah,
then it'll come past it.
yeah, yeah. I
The
get you.
people that
I
don't
get
even own the bike are going, "Oh, that's not right." I'm like, "I own the damn thing. Do you own one?" Well, no, but I read about it. You know,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And look, again, look, we always do take things for granted in the way of stuff that we have and stuff that we have or stuff that we
I like the
dismiss.
bike, by the way.
uh, Yeah,
I like
the
the
stuff
bike.
that we have and stuff that we dismiss could be people's dreams. Do you know what I mean? To own, and fair play to you. Go find your dream and go chase it down. But for me, when I just look at it, it's just like, you
Very
know,
comfortable bike, believe it or not.
I will always try to say it as I see it, and I will never, ever, ever change that. And that's
Mhm.
the way this channel was designed and conceived. Let's just say it straight out. And if people don't like it, they don't have to watch the videos.
Yeah, folks. Hey, you know how we got together? There was we were the first ones that were judging if it was the rider or the bike, and we had the same, what do you call it, the same MO, where we looked at the second rider and the other riders, not just the one who won the championship. Because before, everybody's saying, well, it's if the say Marc Marquez won the championship on a Honda, the Honda had to be the best bike. And we're like, no, look at the bikes behind him. He was, they're back markers. So how can it be the best thing since sliced bread? It's him. He's that good,
Well, look, there's a couple of things, right? They made a bike that no one else could ride, only Marc. That's what Honda engineered, right? Which is not the way you go racing. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, and it's not. Do you know what I mean? Like, let's just say, for example, if you had Marc was coming in first, but you had 3 riders from Yamaha in the top 10 constantly scoring points, they could actually overturn Marc's 25 points, do you know what I mean, for the win and stuff. So for me, when I look at things like that, it's always about the second rider. Where's the second rider? If the second rider is close to the first rider, then you have a good package. If the second rider is miles away, then it's only built for one person, and that's not really how you should go racing. It's how Honda were going racing, but it wasn't. It's not really how you should go racing. But anyway, I suppose on that bombshell, we'll wrap it up for today. Actually, no. Before we go, Sachsenring. Who's your sprint and who's your?
I'm going to go out and go off the rails here because he's always won it, and he has such a long winning streak this year. I'm going to say it's going to be Bezzecchi over Marc Marquez, and then Alex. I don't know what's happened with Pecco. Both races.
I'm going to go Fabio Quartararo.
Ooh, I didn't think about Fabio. Hold on a second. Can I change my thing on that?
Nope. Nope.
Yeah, come on. It was only a minute. You've changed your
No.
What do you say? It's my site. I can change my mind if I want to. It's my marbles. It's my marbles, and I'll play with them if I want to.
Silverstone record-breaking attendance this weekend for Formula One. 500,000 people attended this event.
Excellent. And by the way, he knows Quartararo is my favorite rider. He is, because he never complains. He's stuck with Yamaha through thick and thin. He didn't just jump bail as soon as they had a bad year. I don't think he could because of the money he spends, but still, and he didn't tow even when he needed a tow. Okay, yes. He didn't go grab a tow. He didn't. He said it's wrong. It's dangerous. And even when it was ridiculous when they had the tows that the FIM outlawed it in 3 and Moto 3 and Moto 2, I think, right?
Yeah.
But not for Moto GP because they needed it because Marc Marquez needed it, so they left it on.
Well, the thing with that though is that it's more dawdling is what they were trying to avoid with Moto 3 and Moto 2, with people on the racing line going slow. Do you know what I mean? And then waiting for someone, and then But look, it is what it is. It will be an interesting weekend in the Sachsenring. I can't actually wait to see what's going to happen on it. But yeah.
But you didn't do your pick.
I did. I said Quartararo.
For the whole thing, he's going to win. He's going to go 1 through 18.
Yeah. I think he's going to be. I think he's going to. Yeah, I think he's going to win both sprint and the race. The main race maybe not, because he could cook that rear tire, like, you know what I mean. But they use they use a different tire in Sachsenring, obviously, because of all the left turns. So yeah.
Give me a second and a third.
Second will be Marc, and third, I'm going to go Pecco third.
You're
You know,
so
like
high up for Pecco. I don't think he's ever getting straight.
I
And
don't
he
know.
should be. He's always been able to beat. He's always been able to beat Alex pretty
Yeah,
soundly. You know,
yeah,
he
yeah.
still should
And look,
be.
he
I don't know
hasn't.
what's going on there. I don't
Listen,
know.
he hasn't got slower, right? Pecco hasn't got slower. He just doesn't have the bike under him that he wants. Do you know what I mean? And this is a year. This has now become a year of learning for Pecco because now Pecco has to. Pecco now knows that Ducati can't fix it. Do you know what I mean? So he has to fix it in his own mind, or else he's goosed. So I
Well,
think
he
there's.
doesn't have the raw speed of Mark, and then on his best day. Okay,
I don't
but
know. I think when
I don't see why he's not beating Alex or coming in
because
fourth. If DG passes him, and
exactly, but that's
Mark
his problem. Like
Marquez passes him.
he drops, like he's fine for the first couple of laps, and then it just drops away from him. Then it comes back, but basically
It is
uh,
sporadic. He'll come up halfway through the race and then have a few fast laps and then dumps back.
it's like he goes through what they call with the tires a graining patch. So he
Mm.
starts off okay, and then he loses pace, and
Yeah.
then he comes back, and then he loses pace again. And it's like he's always saying that the minute I get, or the second I get within half a second of the person in front of me, I start to understeer and I start to get massive problems with the bike.
Yeah. Sachsenring isn't a fast track, though, is it? Right.
It's not. So like realistically, an awful lot of the aero and all of that is going to be useless for it.
Is it a
Do you know
slow
what I mean?
track or medium track? Which is
It's slow. I would call it slow. There's only one fucking haymaker of a corner, and that's the down through the waterfall. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Um, and like that's one that you don't want to crash. Alex Marquez is going to attempt to ride in it. Remember, Alex is classified as unfit.
Yes. Oh,
Okay,
we didn't go over that. I
so
tell you what.
so he needs to pass a test before he can ride.
For all the guys that's done a track day, you know, you know how much it beats up your hands when you're pushing, doing under heavy braking. On a track day, you push harder, and the track is tighter than street riding. Okay,
Mhm.
um,
Yeah,
and you're going faster, so it beats the shit out of your hands,
yeah, yeah. It does, but like
your
it's his
forearm.
left hand. It's his left hand. He's just got it done. There's a load of left turns. It's not the
Yeah,
best place for it. But in saying that, look, he can't really wait too much. Do you know what I mean? Because realistically, his goal is to finish second to Mark. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, um, and look, this is the other thing to remember. Like, this championship is very weird. We still have, I think, what is it, 37 points up for grabs per weekend. Do you know what I mean? All it takes is a crash to happen, and you miss three races, and all of a sudden, the bones of 120 points are eroded from your championship
Yeah.
lead. Do you know what I mean? And this is the kind of weird thing, and it's one of the things I've been thinking about, like about the sprints. Have the sprints just made the championship too many points in the championship? Let's just call it.
Now, I like the sprints personally.
Don't get me wrong. I do like the sprints, right? But is there too many points in the championship now? Do you know
Yeah,
what I
I'm the
mean?
thing back that watches free practice one, free practice two. I watch them all
Yeah,
night.
yeah, yeah. But no, I suppose, but just it's like not saying get rid of the sprint, but is there too many points in the sprint? That's
Yeah,
that's the
I
question.
understand.
That
Now,
like is 37 points in the weekend too many points of difference? So like because if like for example, if you were to miss two race weekends, it's 80 points. Do you know what I
now,
mean?
I'll ask you another question. Forget that you're a Yamaha fan for a second.
Mhm.
Do you think that if he could get there, do you think Quartararo would do well? Should jump over to Ducati if he's wanting another championship?
I think he has to if he wants another championship. Look, realistically, it's inconceivable to believe another manufacturer can win the championship until 2027.
Yeah, yeah. But Yamaha does have the strongest of the Japanese. Now Europeans have better, stronger engineers, but Yamaha has the best of the Japanese.
They
engineers.
do, yeah,
Because they
yeah. Look,
hire European engineers.
yeah, it's for me when I'm looking at it. If you removed Quartararo from Yamaha and put on someone normal, because like to be respectful, very respectful, right? Zarco is not at Fabio's level. Mir is not at Fabio's level. Marini is not at Fabio's level.
Mm-hmm.
Chancher definitely is not, right? But you could turn around and say, well, Miller, Oliveira would be at Mir's and Zarco's level, right?
Right.
So if you put if you put Zarco on the Yamaha, just say for instance, they probably have far less points than they had. Joe, I mean, the Fabio factor
Mm-hmm.
would actually say to you, Honda would be ahead of Yamaha. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If it wasn't for Fabio Quartararo.
Yeah. Yeah. As I said, with the manufacturers championship, it does have, you can jump ahead with a good rider where you really shouldn't. I think they should
You
give them a
can, yeah,
different. I think they should
yeah,
give a different point system altogether than the riders championship.
yeah. Look, it's interesting, and it's also interesting. There's a few times now that we've been talking about a few things that have come up in the mainstreams things. So it'd be interesting to see whether is there too many points for the sprint? Will that become a topic of conversation now?
Yeah.
Because I think there needs to be something done because I think, and this is just my opinion, I think there's too many points in the season, and if you were to miss 3 races, you're 100 points behind. Do you know what I mean? And it's fine until you have a triple header or a
Right.
double header. Do you know what I mean? Which we have multiple weekends where we have 2 and 3 races in a row. Do you know what I mean? So it's like a race, a race, a race. Like so, next weekend we're in Sachsenring. The following weekend we're in Brno in the Czech Republic. You know what I mean? And I'm just not sure that it is. With the amount of points available, is it such a good idea anymore? But look, we'll wait and see.
Yeah. And I
Anyway,
then Dior told me that the ZX6 problem with Kawasaki is pretty much a mess.
of course it is. Of course it
And they're
is.
thinking between me and they were thinking of taking it. They over supposedly torqued the number 5 bearing, right?
Right.
Crank bearing, of just taking your bike, uh, you know, loosening it and tightening it back up again,
And
retorquing
it
it.
just
Yeah.
retort. Oh well. Best of
People
luck
are
on
thinking
that.
they're getting new engines. That ain't going to happen. Not with 18,000 units in the United States alone. And then you got Europe, which probably has more.
A newly torqued engine.
Yeah, newly torqued engine. It's better than before. Higher torque. Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, newly torqued engine. Anyway,
torqued engine.
on
But with
the bombshell, I suppose we'll wrap it up there for today, and we'll see you again next week. I'm not sure if I'll be on Sunday or not, but Jake or RCB might do the honors again. We'll wait and see. But
yeah.
thanks everyone for everything, and we will see you all again soon.